Awesome. Well, thank you. You've got light. I'm Anastasia, and I just want to thank you all for jumping on this call. So today we're going to talk a little bit about our story, our journey with doTERRA. I might just mute everyone, and then when you're going to talk, just unmute. That's all right, so we don't keep getting interference. So today we're going to be talking, myself and my frontline leaders and credible leaders in our organisation will be talking to you about our stories and what has brought us to doTERRA, why doTERRA. And next week, so next Thursday night, same Zoom call link, same time, we're going to be working through the business opportunity overview. So the actual booklet talking about how many hours you're expected to work to get to certain ranks, what those ranks mean, what income those ranks mean, what action steps. So we're going to be going through that with you next week. And I'm going to share firstly a little bit about my journey. Then we're going to hear from Marilyn, Di, Virginia, and Anna Maria as well. So we're all really excited to share with you, and we are splitting the time up. So we're going to try to share as much as we can in a short time. So firstly, when I was introduced to doTERRA, I had a 10-week-old. So my 10-week-old is four now. And I was introduced to the business. So I was, one of my good friends that I had gone to primary school, who I kept in contact with, introduced to me the business opportunity. But she also told me how amazing these oils were to use to get rid of toxins in my home, and also for emotional well-being. So at the time, I wasn't in a good space mentally. I did not want to do this business. I totally shut it down. I did not want to talk to people. I didn't want to think about having to go to people's homes or to get on the phone or to walk into a business and introduce what I did. I didn't want a bar of it, but I was happy to have her to come over, and I invited, a good handful of people. And I had my best friend and my cousin, Marilyn and Virginia, who were on this call come, and that was it. So it wasn't a huge success to start, but my friend drove a really long way, and she came and introduced us and taught us about the oils, just some really general ways of how I can clean my floors without using chemicals and stuff like that, and how I can use lavender to help my baby sleep. And I still wasn't so sure about the business opportunity, but I thought, well, why not? When I started to see she had a little bit of success, she had hit the rank of Premier, which at the time was about $600 a month. I thought to myself, wow, that's pretty incredible. If I could stay home with my baby and help support my family with, $600-700 a month, I would be I'll be so grateful. So that's where my journey started. And that was my first vision. I didn't know if I could do it. I didn't know the business. There was not all these incredible programs to learn. I didn't know if I had the guts to kind of speak to people and to share the oils. I didn't know anything about essential oils except I had them to burn. I even used to burn oils that weren't even natural. So it was a whole new world to me. But I took a few steps at a time, and I was really excited to get to Premier. It meant a lot to take a little bit of financial pressure off my husband. And then the next rank of Premier is Silver. So not long after that, I was fortunate enough to fall pregnant. I think actually I had just fallen pregnant again. So that was Yana when I had just reached gold. So gold is a full-time wage is about $60,000 a year, and my business had got to that. So I had a baby that I looked after all the time, and I was pregnant again, and I was really unwell with my pregnancy, and I was just so glad that I didn't have to go into work somewhere. Every time I would bend over, I'd feel really dizzy, and all those ugly things that you can feel when you're pregnant and sleep deprived by having a toddler. But I was really grateful to have that residual income coming in. So I still worked on my business. I just got to choose the hours and the times that worked for me to be able to grow at the same time. And then when Yana was 10 weeks old, so I had my other baby, my organisation went platinum, which is your first six-figure rank. And I can't tell you how grateful and blessed I was for that. So to be home with a toddler and a newborn baby and to have a residual income coming in was exceptional. I didn't just sit on my bum though. That month I did myself 15 workshops. So I had my baby on my boob while I was driving around, enrolling people, and I worked with my baby. So it's possible. You can do this with a small family, or if your family's grown, you've got more time. Epic. And then Diamond was in 2018 in September. Our organisation went to a multiple six-figure business, which is Diamond. And I've been able to stay home with my babies. My husband and I have done a lot of travelling in that time with our kids, which we've been very grateful. We've done the whole East Coast. doTERRA have these opportunities where you can earn trips. So I've earned a trip to Fiji and New Caledonia. I haven't taken them because I've either been breastfeeding or I don't want to leave the kids for that many days or take them with me. But the opportunity and the prizes have been there, which is really epic. And the last 6 months of last year, my husband finally got to detach himself from the company he worked for 19 years. That was an absolutely terrible company, but he just slugged it out. He worked on call around the clock, ridiculous hours, conditions were crazy, and he worked those because financially we really needed that. We needed to have that. And he's now just started his new job where he's not earning as much, but he's really, really happy. And I'm really glad and grateful that this has allowed that change, because to see him happy and, just fulfilled in what he does for work is really important, as it should be for all of us. So that's a little bit about my journey and what brought me here. And I'm going to pass it on to Marilyn.
Oh, thanks for unmuting me. Hi, everyone. I'm going to add a few things to that. As Anastasia said, I was one of the 2 people to attend her first workshop, which Kim Reed came and hosted for us. You'll meet Kim eventually if you haven't already. And I stayed for 20 minutes of the workshop. Didn't want a bar of it, not the essential oils. I was totally interested in the oils because I'd already been using oils for such a long time before that day to help me with emotional support. And that's, so I was really interested in the oils, but the business opportunity was definitely a no-go zone for me. I've worked in health and fitness for 17 years. I worked in a management role for the Mornington Peninsula Shire for such a long time, and previous to that, and it was a role that I had always wanted, and it was everything that I had worked towards, and I absolutely loved it. So I was not unhappy with my job. I actually really loved it. But I knew that I guess after starting to use the oils, I noticed that I was starting to talk about them really organically, and it was just happening. And, you've probably caught the bug already where you just can't help but talk about these oils. It just comes out like verbal diarrhea to some people, you just can't help it. And, so I started to recognize that, and I went, well, I'm sharing these oils anyway, why not give this a go? And Anastasia also kept, we both actually kept umming and ahhing about it for quite some time, and we were like, nah, this multi-level marketing stuff is not for us, and network marketing is not for us. No, don't believe in this, and blah, 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 all the things. But then we were like, we had seen Kim having such great results, and, all of the things. I guess she led the way and went first, and we went, why don't we? Why can't this be us? Why not us? And I guess that's when we made the decision. Anastasia definitely made the decision before I did, and she definitely went for it. And it wasn't really till about a year later that I actually decided to really give this a go. And when I decided to give it a go, because I am an all or nothing person, I was all in. And from that point, yes, I was very, very grateful to build a beautiful platinum team in a very short time. It took me a couple of years from the moment of saying, yes, I want to do this. And that's pretty epic. And I'm always forever grateful, because yeah, you know, coming through that journey has obviously been a game changer for me, in that, you know, one day I did actually decide to leave that dream job, which I said I would never do. I said I was always just going to share the oils as my side hustle, and I told Anastasia I'd never be doing this full time, until one day I think I evolved and I grew, and I guess I actually really started to realize that life can actually be lived a different way. We don't have to fit in the status quo. We don't have to work a 9-to-5 job. We actually do get to choose our reality. And I really, I guess unlocked something that could never be locked up again, in that I started to think bigger and I started to want more. And I absolutely love that I'm in that mindset now, because going to work for somebody else now actually makes me feel really claustrophobic, and, you know, and just really sad, I guess, because we you know, we can create so much for ourselves if we're willing to go there. So I think, you know, just to because we've only got a short amount of time, but yeah, you know, that's basically how this business has been able to change my life. I've also been able to, you know, be there for all my kids' things, never miss the school drop-offs or the school pickups or the dancing concerts at lunchtime or any of that sort of stuff, and that's been really important to me. Also getting to choose when I work and when I don't work, so that I don't have to miss out on family events and all that sort of stuff. You know, I guess we're in that mindset now where we really can have it all. You know, we can have our family life and we can grow out a really beautiful, abundant business, and we can take care of ourselves as well, all at the same time. And I guess that's where it's at for me. The personal growth and the human connection has been huge for me as well during this journey. So I absolutely love all the beautiful people that I've met along the way. I have gone on so many adventures. This business takes you on so many adventures if you're willing to embrace it and just go with the flow and let it see where it takes you. It's absolutely awesome. I wouldn't have been to half of the places that I've been to if I didn't choose this as my business. I wouldn't have met half of the people, maybe any of the people, if I'd never said yes to this. I've created lifelong relationships, and that's absolutely priceless. And I think my most favorite part about all this is I really get to exercise my skills and my creativity and my power in being able to lead a really abundant business and lead empowered and powerful women and help them to create exactly the same things for themselves as well. That's probably my favorite part. I'm going to leave it there because we've only got a short amount of time, and I'll pass it on to Di.
Thanks, Matt. Sorry, I was just taking myself off mute. Thank you. So my story, I started probably close to, it was coming up to 4 years ago of using the oils. So it began for me as a personal experience with one particular oil, and that was through Anastasia when we caught up. We used to work with one another in the fitness industry many years ago. So I had some quite severe neck problems going on at the time, and I was introduced to doTERRA's Ice Blue oil actually by Anastasia. So I had a personal experience with the oils. I thought I knew a bit about essential oils, but really I didn't. This opened up my world for essential oils, and I was blown away by the experience I had just with this one particular blend and how it really turned my neck problem around. So I'm a really inquisitive person. I'm a why person. I'm like the toddler that asks, but why, but why, but why? And I just go and do my research. I'm a researcher. I just love it. So from that, I needed to know what the hell was this oil? How did it work? All things natural as much as possible. And how come I hadn't discovered this before? So that led me down the path to do a little bit more exploration and research. And then I tried some oils for my family, and I just had one wow factor after the other. So it was really a personal experience for me. My background, personally, I work for myself and have done for a lot of years, and my background's in nutrition and a women's hormone coach. So I've done a lot. I've worked for myself for many, 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 many years. So that was my work, and that was my identity, and who I am. So it probably took me a little while to see the business opportunity with doTERRA and the oils. But I did, and that was a number of, I guess, you know, me doing research, using more oils for my own experience and those around me. As I said, I'm a why person. I just didn't stop researching, and having discussions frequently with Anastasia and others. So it didn't, maybe it took a little while, but then I did see the business opportunity, and that there was an opportunity to grow a residual income. So if anyone has worked for themselves in a traditional type business, for me, it's a service-based business. What I do, I see clients or I run group programs. If I don't work, I don't get paid. For me, I guess being in my age and being in my 50s, you know, I live a good life, but I could also see that if I wasn't working and continued to work, I wasn't going to get an income. I wasn't going to get any kind of retirement fund. So being a really independent woman in my 50s, that kind of scared the bejesus out of me, to be honest. So I guess when I started to look at the business opportunity and have the opportunity to grow some residual income, that's when my light bulb moment really turned on, because I love what I do. I love who I am, but I also wanted to be able to grow something that was stable and secure for stability in long term. And I know probably many of you are younger here, but I was quite sort of concerned, and always have been, about my financial independence and being older, what I could create for myself, so I didn't have to continue working really hard well into my 60s. So I guess that was really attractive for me. And what I loved around the business model as well is that it gave me flexibility, and the fact that I could actually work from anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where I am. I have a partner who's nearing retirement as well, and we want to travel, and we don't want to be bound, and we want to have that freedom. So he can retire, we can live the lifestyle that we would like, not extravagant, but that I can create and build a residual income that will pay the bills, basically. So that was really attractive for me. The other thing I really love about this business is that and again, working for myself for such a long time, it can be really isolating, and it's hard when you work for yourself or in small business. So I love the idea of working together with other like-minded people and other like-minded women and collaborating together. I think there's a lot of power in that. And I just love empowering other, particularly women, but I love empowering women to be able to grow and flourish and nurture and just share and love what they do. So I really love this side of the business as well. And as the girls have said, I've met some wonderful people along the way already in this doTERRA journey, and I've made some really wonderful friends, and we have fun when we catch up and get together as well. So I think for me, the other thing I will talk about is that up until recent times, I've kind of kept my two businesses separate, my nutrition and coaching business, and then my doTERRA business. But I've had recent light bulb moments that I don't actually have to keep it separate and feel overwhelmed in that, and that I have a lot to offer with what I do. So I'm really moving forward with my doTERRA business to bring it together, because I feel like I have a lot to offer with my background. Now, I know not everyone is the same as that, but I can see this in many people, and I think we all have a different background, we have a different skill, we have different qualifications, we have different passions that we can bring to the table, and it doesn't need to be separate to essential oils. So if you love essential oils and you see the business opportunity, I think we can all be unique and individual in how we do this business, but we have the support, there's the trainings, there's all the processes in place and a great team to work with, but we can be our unique self, and what our background is, we can bring that to the table as well, and how we share and grow and nurture our business. So I think the work is not hard, but like any business, you have to work in it for it to grow and flourish and be consistent in that. So I think for anyone that sees the bigger picture, and whatever your background is, bring that to the table and share that, because it will be natural and it will grow, and you will bring like-minded people into that journey as well. So that's my story. I'll hand over to, I think Virginia's next. Is that right? Yep.
Hi. So I'm one of the 2 people that went to Anastasia's workshop all those 4.5 years ago about. To be honest, I did say this to Anastasia after the fact, but I only went because I felt like I would go support my cousin. I had no interest in essential oils. I did think they were just, hippie smelly things that you burn. I went along and I knew that I'm the type of person that will buy things under pressure. Impulse buying. So I knew I'd walk away with something, whether or not I really wanted it or understood it or was going to use it wasn't the question. And of course, I walked away with the Home Essentials kit. But not only did I walk away with the Home Essentials kit, Kim, who did come down and do the workshop, was giving out a sample each. So a little sample vial. It was only a handful of little drops in there, and it was just pick one or the other sort of thing. And I just grabbed one, and it was a balanced blend. And at the time, I was going through a few things. I also had real severe back pain as well that I was dealing with. So it was just a lot of emotional things that I was dealing with because of the back pain. I was unable to be as physically active as I was. I was going through low moods as well as, weight gain and all that sort of stuff because of the medication that I was on. So there was a lot of things that I was dealing with that, at the time, I didn't think a little sample bottle of Balance was going to do me any good. But little did I know that it was really, really helpful in supporting me on an emotional level, and that little sample vial was everywhere with me until it ran out, until my order arrived and I was able to do another order and grab my own bottle myself. And that little sample vial, I just sat in the car and wherever I was really, and I just put a couple of drops in my hands, rubbed my hands together, and I inhaled it like that, and it really helped me, and I was hooked. So when that kit did arrive, I was super excited to learn more about it. Were they just smelly hippie things, or was I actually going to be into it and look into them and use them? But I became obsessed. I did a lot of research. I was amazed at all the things that I read about the essential oils and how people were benefiting from them. I probably went full overhaul and got rid of all the nasty crap in my home, and we had just moved into our home too, so I got rid of everything and started making my own cleaning products and started making my own spray and wipe, or making dishwashing tablets, or making laundry powder. And we still use all of these things, and I still make all these things, but I'm a real big DIY person, so that was nothing for me, to just substitute things that I was buying from the store that were full of nasty chemicals and just making myself. I knew exactly what ingredients were involved. I knew exactly, that nothing was going to be harmful for us. And I knew that eventually when it came time to starting a family, that I wasn't going to have to worry about if the kids crawling around or licking the floor and, there was some bleach or something that was laying around on the floor or licking or breathing in those nasty fumes. So that DIY side of it was a real big thing for me, because I thought, I could replace everything and, use everything from my doTERRA order. But the main thing that really just was my well thing for me was the Ice Blue blend, because I was dealing with such severe back pain for probably 2-3 years at that point. And Anastasia is my cousin. She knows at that time how bad my back pain was, and I was just not handling it quite well. The Ice Blue was definitely my savior. I was able to slowly ease off the medications that I was on because I was getting relief from the Ice Blue blend. I still use it when I do get that random flare up. It was definitely helpful for me when I was going through my pregnancy last year, and I don't see my life without these essential oils now. My husband, when I did come home from the workshop and I said, I just spent a few $100s on a kit, he goes, why? What are you going to do with them? What are they for? He was a bit reluctant, and we do hear this quite a few times that, the men in the family are a bit like, oh, why are you spending so much money? Why are you doing this? No. But he was suffering from digestive problems for quite a few years, whether he ate late or whether he ate too heavy foods or whether it was oily foods, or sometimes it would just play on him and it would last for quite a few days, and it was something that was just ongoing for him. He sort of felt like, this is just me, like I'm putting up with it. But I thought, no, I've got these oils, we're going to use them, let's try them, what have you got to lose? So he used the digestive blend, and that's when he said, okay, you can buy what you want, I like it, this works. As long as I kept buying digestin, he was happy. And he tells everybody about Digestive Blend all the time, and that was for him like the light bulb moment for him. Another thing that I really loved about the essential oils is, even though I wasn't into the business in the beginning and I really didn't know how to go about it, you know, I obviously trust Anastasia being my cousin, and, you know, we went through it and sort of just dived into it really. But it's brought us closer, and, you know, being my cousins, we now have much closer relationship that we did, you know, 5, 6, 7 years ago before doTERRA came along. And all the ladies on the camera here, there's a few people that I wouldn't have met, even though somebody like Anna Maria, who's also part of the business, we have a lot of mutual friends, but I didn't know it. So it does bring a lot of people together, and it's really, really beautiful in that way that you'll meet people that, you know, you probably could have known, you know, through a few other people, but you're never going to really cross paths with them. Or you just can meet someone who you really don't have anything other in common with other than doTERRA, but you have this really beautiful friendship. And you get to see this even more when you go to events like convention. And, you know, I'm so excited that this year it's in Melbourne. So even if you are local to us and you are sort of sitting on the fence about the business opportunity, go to convention. You'll walk away thinking, you know what, this is amazing, because it is. Going forward, you know, I'm so happy that now that my baby's here, that I can look at natural alternatives and help him if he needs anything without having to think, oh, I need to go to the doctor, I need to do this, I need to do that. Like, he's had a few issues with reflux and some constipation and that sort of thing, but, you know, I've heavily diluted digestin and it's done wonders for him already. Or I've even bought him the Tamer blend, and he's getting a good relief with that as well. And, you know, sometimes you need to put a little bit of lavender to soothe him at night, to calm him down, and that's doing wonderful things too. So I'm really glad that I'm able to introduce the essential oils to my baby now, and hopefully just keep going with them, because they're working wonders for us, and I really, really love them. So if you are local, go to convention so you can hear more about it and just experience everything. You'll meet so many beautiful people and really experience the beauty that doTERRA has to offer for us all. I'm done because I keep ramble on for a bit, but pass you on now to Anna Maria. So Anna Maria.
Hi everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. So I have known Anastasia through the fitness industry as well. I think it was something like 2007 that we met and remained, you know, part of each other's lives. And she told me about the oils for over 3 years. However, I was extremely skeptical, and I also thought it was hippie stuff. And, you know, the things that I knew about oils was really not even true, and I just had a really negative perception of them. And also, you know, back when I was in beauty school and in a salon part-time, we used to burn the oils, which is totally contrary to what we do now and what I did know. So my knowledge was very limited, therefore I just didn't really think very highly of them or think they were that beneficial for me. So Anastasia being a part of my life for so long, and just seeing her and catching up with her, she'd always talk to me about them. But it took me over 3 years to actually even try them. And I was very skeptical, and I kind of thought one day when she came over, and I'd seen how far she'd come, so it wasn't something that she was trying to sell me that I knew that she was being dishonest about, or some just, you know, like a nasty sleazy salesman at your door. It was nothing like that at all for us. Because I had seen her journey and seen it from the very beginning, I knew this was something that was definitely authentic and true, because, you know, my friend was doing all the work and doing really great at it. And I thought, no, there has to be something. Why are these people so obsessed with them? So anyway, I tried the oils, and I thought everything was a coincidence, because I was that skeptical, and I still remain skeptical. So I remember the first month, just little things that were happening, like I tried them on my kids at night and they'd sleep better, or they'd be more settled. And if they're really emotional, and I tried them all on them and they'd, you know, calm down, I still thought everything was just a coincidence, until there was a real few big light bulb moments. And one of them was my mother developed an ulcer on her toe, and she's a diabetic, does not really take care of herself all that well. And we had gone away for a holiday, and unfortunately it ended with us being in hospital, and she was put on antibiotics for over 4 weeks. She had hospital in the home come, like it was really severe, to the point that her toe was actually going to get amputated. So she had an appointment booked with a cardiovascular specialist the following week, and I thought, you know what, I've got these oils, I'm just going to try them. So jumped online, did a bit of research, and started using the oregano oil. And we used this a week before her cardiovascular appointment, and we were basically convinced that that appointment would be for her to be told that her toe was going to get amputated, and they were going to book in a day for that to happen. So I used it twice a day. I took photos of it, and she went back to the cardiovascular specialist a week later, and sure enough, this ulcer had healed more in 7 days from using oregano oil than it did for 4 weeks of antibiotic in hospital, being on a constant drip in hospital, putting, you know, IV antibiotics into her bloodstream, and the hospital in the home coming every day to change her wound and clean it up. This was far more effective, and that also, you know, obviously sold her as well. So that was a real turning point for me. Other than that, I've had my daughter who suffers from severe asthma. She's so sensitive that even if there's an aircon on, it's a trigger for her. And we were in and out of hospital constantly, overseas on a holiday, visiting family in the US, back in hospital again. There was like I can't even remember, it was a short period of time where she was just in and out of hospital 4 or 5 times for her asthma. So I started to use Easy Air and lavender, and we use it daily, and touch wood, she has not been in the hospital since. Now that's been over about a year now, so that's another profound moment that made me realise that this was actually working. And then since then, you know, it's just been an obsession that's taken over my life. Same as Maz, any conversation, I find the opportunity to talk about them. I carry them everywhere, go overseas, and about 7 kilos of my luggage is you know, doTERRA products. And it's so hard for me to go without one of them, so I end up just lugging around everything. So for me, I guess that were my turning moments. I've been asked to do several other businesses because I do have a big social life and a lot of friends, and this is the only company that really caught my eye, more so than anything else, which is why I never did any other company that I'd been asked and offered to do. And one of the main reasons is the support, and as well as the support, the information that's out there for you. You're not just thrown out into the dark. If you're unsure of something, there's always information at your fingertips that you can get your hands on. And there's people that you can reach out to, not just talking to a computer. There's actually personal relationships here, and having that connection with people. Being an extrovert, that's really important for someone like me, and not being, you know, just left in the corner and forgotten about once I've purchased my first kit per se. So that's one of the beautiful things about this company. I also love the values. If you get the opportunity to come to convention, go there and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And that's something that my husband has also attended. And before I even booked this year, he was like, make sure you get me in for next year because I'm coming. So even my husband has become hooked onto the oils as well. And he's American, and he'd heard about them in the US and the great reputation that they have. So now he's even more into it as well. What else? I've written like notes, but I've just gone off the top of my head now. I love the business opportunity as well, because I do work a lot of hours and I've got 3 jobs in total, but my end goal would just be to focus on this and my beauty. And I know that that can be possible, and I can spend more time with my children and my husband rather than working 7 days a week as I do. So that's one of my big goals, and I know that this company can make that achievable, because I look at Anastasia and know that she had 3 jobs and she worked like an absolute animal, and that's how her and I had met. And that's just something that we have in common, and that I've been able to see her succeed and not have to be like that anymore. But I think we're running out of time. So that's about it. I've got so much more I'd love to say, but they are the main points that I'd like to express.
Thank you so much. So I hope you've really enjoyed hearing from some incredible leaders in this organisation, and whoever has sent you to watch this video or to be on here with us, please contact them. Please go back to them. Now, if you want to know, as I mentioned at the start, next Thursday at 8 o'clock on the same link, I'll create an event for it. you will be able to jump on and we will be breaking down the actual business opportunity. So what's involved and all that exciting stuff. So if this excites you and you want to step in to do this for your family and your future, just let yourself be known to whoever sent you, and we will see you on the call next Thursday. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you, ladies, for sharing your stories with us. We really appreciate your time. And thank you everyone else for taking your time to be here with us today. We really appreciate it and love you lots.